Hello? All right. Restarted my computer, so of course it needs to forget uh, every single audio device. So was there even sound for that countdown? If not, I apologize. Welcome everyone to the Scarred Thumb Podcast. I'm David, your host. And, well, let's get right into it. Good morning, Deborah, JWB, Silver Bishop. Good to see you. Yeah, we are talking about de novo. That will be part of the talk. But first, I want to get into sort of a generally passive-aggressive design. The sort of rise of it was designed to prevent theft, but it's been a tragedy for normal paying customers that want to enjoy services. A failing attempt to prevent theft. They have turned kind of everything into a slum, as you can see through this Walmart one-way gate. The second you go into here and you see this one-way gate, you know you're in the middle of a ghetto, basically. So you have to sort of endure this if you just want to shop, get a few items, or God forbid, you want to just leave without buying anything. Well, you can't go through here. It's going to sound some sort of alarm, like you're stealing something. No, you have to sort of find a way around through this sort of maze of checkout aisles if you want to go. So, if you walk into same thing if you walk into a hardware store and you realize, oh, I forgot the part I wanted to match up. You turn around, oh, you can't go out the entrance you just came in. That's one way. So now you have to sort of find your way through this sort of maze. Back when I used to work at a hardware store, they called it like a cattle, not like a trough, but the sort of like things that you funnel cattle through. You have to go through that maze. It's called like an impulse aisle in the business where, they try to sell you candy and eyeglass repair kits. So you have to like kind of go through that and find your way to the exit door without buying anything. It's simply just to leave the store. It's an inconvenience for normal paying customers, and really it's just a way for businesses to potentially prevent theft and get a few extra percentage of their profits from leaving. And it's usually due to the fact that they can't watch all the customers. The salaries are the most expensive next to their product. It's the second most expensive thing for a business in retail is the salaries of their employees. So they need to kind of cut that down as much as possible, which means they can't kind of watch the people they need to. And usually you can tell exactly the people you need to watch, but that's another talk for another time. So, the normal paying customer has to pay for that in order for them to passively try to prevent theft through these super inconvenient systems. And, more and more as you look around, you see, inconveniences and ugly design that punishes good people in an attempt to kind of stop the dregs of society from doing something. Oh God, let's just go over this one quick. This was a way to, they put subway spikes, and I'm not going to comment on the, I probably will comment on the ethnicities of some.
Do you think these spikes are going to prevent people from paying? Go to the door, gang. All right, say less.
Go to the door, gang. See, this guy wasn't going to jump the turnstiles at all. I guarantee you that. But let's take a look at this.
My fellow New Yorkers, we help all our people. That's right. Is this going to stop
here.
anybody from hopping? I'm about to hop this right now.
Uh-oh.
That makes sense. He didn't even touch the spikes, y'all. Regular New York.
So you get these ugly spikes, and clearly it's not preventing anybody they want to stop is going to stop. They just jump.
No, you heard?
But people are gonna do it anyway. Just gotta get gloves.
I'm coming to the train station with gloves. Them spikes ain't gonna stop nothing, right, gang?
Hell no. I don't have a problem with them. Anybody who tries
the Jewish guy. It's the Jewish guy's hate.
to get in without paying the fare, it's like shoplifting.
I'm from New York, man. Whoa. My fellow New Yorkers, all y'all have to do is get some gloves. If you as big as me and can't go on there, gotta hop, just get some gloves. It works. Y'all seen it.
So yes, so you get the ugly spikes, and yeah, it does absolutely nothing for the people that are just going to jump it anyway. It slightly inconveniences them, and everyone that does it legally, that actually pays for this transit system to run. They have to look at this ugly crap all day, which you think maybe it's not just a big deal to see like some ugly spikes have this ugly design. But I think it does kind of take a toll on you after a while. Let me try and see. Just see ugliness every day on your way to work, on your way back, having to deal with that kind of thing. It's again just like a psychic draw on you. As everything you look around, you just see ugliness and a reminder of the fact that you live in a society where this is a regular problem. Then we also have this kind of stuff because rather than deal with homelessness properly, we just have to try to prevent them from sleeping on it's the new church. Yeah, theft is bad. Yeah. You have the bench because, you can't sleep on it, but hey, you can lean on this bench. Good Lord. Blue lit public washrooms. Yeah, this looks like fun. This looks like a lot of fun because drug users are using it regularly. And, rather than lock them up or stick them in some sort of home or psychiatric facility, this is also, it's like a Mega Man game here. We got just spikes. Section benches, obviously. Why? Just have a bar on your bench. That looks really nice. Or this looks great too. Wow. Again, amazing. This looks kind of nice. Or unorthodox benches. I'm surprised Tokyo has to have that. Have that. I mean, it's not very comfortable to lean on, but it looks kind of neat at least. Sidewalk boulders. Oh, this is nice. This doesn't look super ugly, but look how inconvenient this would be to walk in between it. You have to worry about smacking your shins and stuff. It just, again, this is just to prevent homeless people. It's not, it just punishes any normal person that wants to walk on the side, or if you got two people walking hand in hand, you can't move to the side at all. You can't get out of people's way. Oh, wow, this is cool. A bunch of, nuts on top of a thing to stop someone from sleeping on it or sitting on it. And then, grates in a corner. This one looks kind of cool, but again, if you wanted to use that corner for something, screw you. This looks ugly as hell. What is this? Oh, boy. This looks all right. But again, it's super uneven. I don't even get what this is. It's super dumb. And I doubt, some homeless person could just get if they wanted to, they could just get some sort of plywood or something to just stick over it and sleep there. Ghost amenities, where I guess they just removed public amenities because vandalism and loitering were too common. Oh, that's great. Locked benches. Oh, this didn't load? This is a shame. Oh no, my connection been timed out. I guess it's having a problem. Their web hosting services are not too good. Spikes in front of India, everybody. This looks great. Ooh, wow. But you get the point. There's some the bird spikes they sell. But I don't know what you can really do to stop animals, but this looks kind of bizarre. But I mean, I guess it's just to stop birds from perching there and then crapping all over the place. Oh my gosh. What does this do? Serious game, large enough to be uncomfortable to sit on. So what? They just, you have to pay money? So you have to pay money to put the spikes down? What the hell is this stuff? This is so ugly. In order to remove the spikes, you have to pay a coin. This is the libertarians, the future libertarians want. This is so. But I mean, this is, rather than dealing with homelessness, dealing with the actual core issue. Everyone, the general public that supplies all this stuff has to deal with this kind of crap, and that's kind of like the segue into video games. This isn't video game related, but obviously business is business, and video games are, in fact, a business. So we had Niche Gamer. This was a week ago where they're talking about PlayStation Network being down for 24 hours. This guy confirms that you cannot pair your disk drive to a PS5 if it doesn't have a connection to the PlayStation Network. So if in the future, if your collection's physical, if you want to preserve it, through a physical collection, well, how are they going to do that? If the PSN's down, something happens with your PS5, it breaks, or you have to get work done on it, you have to do a factory reset. Now your disc is no longer paired. What happens then? are you able to pair it again? I mean, that does raise a huge concern for people that want to preserve their games through physical media, using a PS5 Pro at least. I guess maybe if you just have to go to a regular PS5, which kind of sucks. If you want the more powerful version of the PS5, you're out of luck. And this, though, I mean, in terms of preservation, there's always been people that saying, and I kind of agree with them, that, you know, even physical isn't really preservation because physical stuff can rot. The only real like way to preserve it into the future would be potentially like create, you know, libraries of these games that are cracked, you know, like just, you know, executables that you could play through like any PC device, that kind of stuff, rather than having, and I think it is a very good idea to eventually have games almost like, you know, libraries where you could check them out and play with them. But you never know if that's going to happen. I mean, it's cool if companies do that, but so often, you know, they want to use their libraries are a very profitable way to make stuff like streaming services. You've seen what Nintendo's done through their emulators and releasing stuff, but it's not everything that they've ever released on Super Nintendo or, you know, Game Boy Advance. So it's just select profitable copies. So the other stuff that's more niche just sort of falls into the cracks, and they'll continue their sort of war on emulation until that happens. But, you know, all that to prevent, you know, increased sales, maybe like a small percentage, and, you know, I guess protect their copyright. Maybe you can make an argument for that. But again, this is just a few percentage profit that might be increased, but in the end inconveniences the paying customer that's, you know, actually supporting your games, you know, buying a PS5 Pro, which is like, and the additional disk drive, you know, which is almost like $1,000. I don't know the exact cost, but, you know, PlayStation Pro is going for like $700, $800. It's an insane amount to pay just to have to connect your stuff to the PSN in order to use it. This is from Overlord Gaming, little video, kind of going over what DRM has been a popular thing for a while now, and stuff like de novo is probably the most popular version of it in order to prevent piracy. But like I said, Overlord Gaming, this channel, did a little bit of testing. This is particularly Monster Hunter World, a game I've played before. But I mean, look at the performance difference in this.
While the unprotected build took 20...
Wait, hold on a second. Let me get to the beginning of it.
Protection removed and consequently lost 481.88 meg. The de novo build took 76 seconds to load the main menu on its first run, dropping to 65 seconds on subsequent runs. While the unprotected build took 25 seconds to load the main menu on its first run and dropped to 22.63 seconds on subsequent runs. In other words, the de novo protected build took thrice as long to load the main menu for the first time.
And this is a crazy improvement in performance. 70, so like over a minute with de novo, and then again like a third of a minute without de novo. So people are paying full price for the de novo build as it comes out. And I guess if you wait a few years when they release the non de novo build, you can get the best experience. So you have to wait an extra, I mean, you know, these are just, you know, maybe a minute, but it's really the principle of it is insane. The fact that in order, you're out here, you're supporting the companies you enjoy, you're supporting their games, and you get a worse experience because of it, because they want to prevent, you know, maybe like 10%, maybe probably less than that, probably even less than 10% of people that are going to pirate it. Because, I mean, you look at the thing, I mean, one, maybe they pirate and they like it so much they buy it. Two, how many people are going to not buy the, you know, that pirate the game were ever going to buy the game to begin with? There's really no way to test that. Like, if I could just, you know, get it for free easily, would I do that? You know, if I get it de novo free, are they going to go on some torrent site, find it, download it, and then run it like that, you know, hoping that there's nothing wrong with it? Well, who knows? You never know. if that's going to actually cause a loss for the company. Or it's, just people that were just, do I want to play Monster Hunter? Well, let me check it out. And they just, they try it and they don't purchase it later.
And 287% the timer took the unprotected build on subsequent runs. The Denuvo EXE took 7 seconds to load the arena, 350% as long as the unprotected.
Those 7 seconds versus 2 seconds. That's, again, crazy. It's only a matter of seconds, but the idea that it takes so less with Denuvo, and this is like loading an arena. How many different stages do you load? So how much is reduced? He'd only test it in very specific controllable environments. You have to imagine the non-Denuvo build performs this much better, and it does vary from title to title, and how there is an argument to be like how well you optimize for Denuvo, but it does seem insane to actually have to worry about, how do we optimize our game for this DRM anti-piracy software, rather than optimize it for the best gaming experience. So people are already losing out if they have to waste dev resources in order to prevent piracy, which again I think is just a waste of
protected build, which took just 2.
Not that piracy isn't an issue, but I mean, you look at here, the frame rate,
a 14.81.
The frame rate isn't that different, but it is something.
5% improved protected build, which measured a minimum of 54 frames, though there was a noticeable difference in the maximum frame time. The Denuvo build's longest stutter lasted 126.239 milliseconds, 420.867% as long as the unprotected build, which measured a maximum frame time of just 29.995 milliseconds.
Wow, that's crazy. And it's hard to measure milliseconds in my head, get an idea how much a millisecond is. But again, like the stutters are so drastically reduced. So you just have a better experience without the copyright protection. So this is the price normal people that support video gaming have to pay, thanks to anti-piracy measures. It's crazy. So thanks for Overlord Gaming. I borrowed his stuff. I didn't ask, but I just figured he probably won't care. Also, unfortunately, the guy doesn't seem to make videos. Hasn't been making them recently, and I also switched over to a new channel called Yeti. But he kind of makes these essays about Denuvo and some other things. It seems quite interesting. So give him a follow if you want. I'll give him a shout out since I'm using his clips, and it's clearly he does some pretty good work on this stuff. So check him out. Let's see, was that the last? Yeah, and that's kind of it. I mean, that's what we have to deal with right now, is just these passive aggressive designs that I just don't think they actually do anything. The real answer to this is just have better sales. If you look at stuff like Steam and GOG and itch.io and all these things that provide really reliable ways to purchase things digitally and easily, they have these sales go on that help you get a value. It's a really easy platform to use, and stuff like Steam has ways to kind of give you benefits that a cracked version couldn't, because you could easily kind of play with your friends through Steam. You can have global achievements, chatting features, all that kind of stuff. Those sort of things I think help prevent theft far more than having Denuvo or anything like that on it, because again, you're rewarding the paying customer for buying your game and supporting your game, rather than just hey, here, wait a few weeks and it's a cracked version. But I mean, this is an overall bigger problem, because a lot of times people that adopt it early, play it early, get that 3 days early access, they got to deal with bugs, they got to deal with incomplete crap, imbalance. The product that's putting out there is so bad at the start, and there's a game that we'll talk about today that has those issues. But I mean, it's become such a common problem where people are just trying to nickel and dime you constantly with these companies. It's such a poor customer relationship right now. It's it's only further encouraging theft from players as they just feel like they're getting ripped off more and more. I think one of the answers would be to be far more consumer friendly, and I think consumers will appreciate that and pay and support. But that's just my thoughts. Let's see what the chat is. I mean, Silver Bishop here mentioned Denuvo, or how to make pirating games more attractive. Exactly. Denuvo really just encourages piracy rather than prevent it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Daydib will be like Home Depot. Yeah, exactly. Got to watch 6 Miles Exit. This always happens, and it's really just because they don't want to pay for extra employees. That's a fact. That's the reality. And I didn't even mention like the Walmart guy that checks receipts. He's got to waste a few extra seconds of your time as you try to exit because we can't specifically target a certain groups of people. The metal detector at work, but the real thieves have to deal with security. They get through anyway. Yep, exactly. The people that are smart, that have been doing enough, the thieves have been doing enough, they're not stopped by that stuff. It's just an inconvenience to other people. There are no bars for entering public transit. If you get caught riding without a ticket, you get a hefty fine, and that's it. Wow, there's no bars at all. Okay. Of course, people using regularly have affordable long-term tickets. So exactly, they just make the stuff affordable. So that's another way to prevent theft is you give people a service at a reasonable price. That's crazy. That's a crazy way. Get checked for their ticket. I said, I ran out of money. The security walked away and did nothing. It was like looking at Precious on the train. Yeah, I don't know why there's so many homeless people. I assume it's just drug use, and of course, probably maybe the price of homes too. They really need facilities to put these people away in, because they're crazy or they're out of mind on drugs, that kind of stuff. Some would pay to elongate the space. Hey, good to see you, X-Runner. It's another case of upper management coming with corporate. Exactly, yeah. That was one of the things that I didn't specifically mention, but I think it is a managerial problem. It's, people that don't care about aesthetics at all. It's just they look at graphs. They're like, Excel monkeys. They're just looking at their spreadsheets. They're just looking at the numbers, and the numbers got to go up. It's the old, tech bro type of number must go up. GDP must go up. Who cares if we destroy our society or our culture? As long as the number goes up, then we're good. That's winning, is the number go up at any cost. Who cares? Who cares what we do to our people and our society? As long as that quarterly profit keeps going up, I keep my job, and that's what matters. That's what really matters. So yeah, it's paying the price. Boeing's paying the price for not a lot of faith in Boeing right now. And not to mention they got to pay all that money for assassins to kill those people. That's a joke, by the way. I don't know if they are assassinating people, but it is kind of bizarre how many people have committed suicide in these sort of Boeing trials. We'll see, but let's move on to the news now. Got a lot of fun news. This was really fascinating. A Marvel Rivals player has uncovered one of the most dangerous vulnerabilities a game can have that lets cheaters take over your PC and find your passwords. This is by Eli Gould, or Ellie Gould. We'll see. Marvel Rivals has overcome a couple of difficulties since it was released at the end of last year, mostly improving performance or sorting out technical issues. A YouTuber who goes by Shalzuth revealed he's found a vulnerability, and basically this is a remote code execution. And let me just move over to his blog here. This is this gentleman's blog, the saluth.com/blog. So I found an exploit that lets hackers take over your PC. Intro. Security of vulnerabilities on online games aren't just theoretical, they happen more often than you think. Recently, I discovered a remote code execution exploit in Marvel Rivals that could allow an attacker of the same network to run arbitrary code on the player's device. Edit 213 NetEase pushed a fix so that the client verifies that the Python scripts are from NetEase. This closes this exact exploit. So I guess they did respond, probably thanks to the both PC Gamer and him pushing this through. The issue is the game uses remote code executions for their hot fix patching system, but the game doesn't verify that it's connected to the real game server. And the cherry on top is that the game runs with admin privileges for the sake of anti-cheat. And this is common on like Chinese games and maybe a lot of new games. But I think if I remember, what was it? Valorant, I think, had an issue where someone was remote code executing on one of somebody's PC during the match, during like one of their tournament matches, and he had to like drop out because of it. It was kind of embarrassing for them. Yeah, why am I not surprised? Chinese company has an RCE in their game. Yeah, I think I'm not surprised either, because it kind of seems like something they'd enjoy doing. They want to be able to remote code execute on their computers. So this is the type of exploit known as remote is one of the most dangerous vulnerabilities. It means it could potentially run harmful commands on your PC without your knowledge just by being connected to the same Wi-Fi, which, you could say like, all right, will it happen in a coffee shop or that kind of stuff? We're on the same Wi-Fi and it's like, a public connected Wi-Fi, or maybe you're at like a LAN party or some sort of like other event like that. It could potentially create some issues for, IRL events. Game developers continue to amaze me with this is just another rant. This also opens a door for an entry point in the PS5. So it's not even just PCs, it's consoles. And he has like a little demonstration of that. Game developers continue to amaze me with their lack of security awareness. In the past year, I found at least 5 critical bugs in very popular games that have had negative impact on the entire player base. 3 of them still exist because either the game dev isn't reachable or the game dev straight up doesn't care. Cool, right? It's very hard for security researchers to report bugs to most game dev toughies. On top of that, most do not have bug bounty programs. It's a huge shame and encourages people looking into video game security to not report vulnerabilities and only create hacks and bots, because that's where the money is. Thank you to those game devs who have successful bug bounty programs. So you're just kind of saying like, hey, this is something, again, sort of like passive-aggressive design or better user experience. This is something that devs, especially if they have, popular multiplayer online games, really need to put some money into to make sure people are not having bad user experiences or, getting hacked through their game. And contributions, Aeon, Lucid, Luke, FS Nitro, Scan, Telga, and others helped with the network crypto and helped out. And this is his blog. This is also his channel. It's Sal Zuth. He only has 207 subscribers, so it might be a good follow if you're interested in this kind of stuff. I don't know how often he posts stuff, so let me just pop in. So he's only posted a few videos about this, but it'd be kind of cool. I think, he's got 12K views, 5.1K views on this stuff, so hopefully if he keeps kind of doing this stuff, he could have a successful channel. But speaking of unsuccessful, well, Civilization 7 just came out. Civ 7, good old Sid Meier's. The latest in the Civ 7 series. I kind of covered the stupidity of adding Harriet Tubman to the game, but it's really not. It doesn't really seem like wokeness is the big issue here with Civilization. As we look, some have said it's flopped. I don't know if it really flopped, but if you look at the numbers here, you got 64,000. The peak is 84,000. So, there's definitely people playing it. But if you look at Civilization 6, well, you look at the peak here. All-time peak was 18 hours ago. It's 64,000. The peak for Civ 6 was 1,628,000. So, And right now, the same amount of people are playing the game right now as they are playing Civilization VII, which isn't a good sign, in my opinion. I mean, I guess it's great people love Civ 6, but the fact that so many people aren't adopting, kind of moving over to Civ 7 kind of shows an issue. I mean, look at the reviews right now. It is at 51%, almost as much negative reviews as there are positive reviews. So the game definitely has some serious issues. And if you're not kind of beating your sequel, which you always want to do better than you did last time, this isn't a good sign for Civilization 7. They've got some serious problems right now. Financial failure, whether it's a financial failure or not, I don't have enough information to say so. But it's definitely not good. As this is sitting at 86% positive reviews, and like I said, destroying. I guess double. Its peak is double the amount, which was 8.3 years ago, probably nearer release than Civ 7. That's not good. If you're losing half your player base here, that's not a good thing. Not a good thing to see. And you can kind of see how mixed the reviews are. This isn't a good sign. And when you actually look at the reviews, it's pretty much, no mention of Harriet Tubman or any of the wokeness of the game. It's really just as a player for the series over 30 years. I started on the multiplayer build of Civ 1, CivNet in the early 90s. So he's played every Civ in the game. Civ 7 is an absolute fail. I can't even begin to put into words how badly 2K Firaxis missed the mark here. Literally, the catchphrase of the entire franchise has always been one more turn. You can't one more turn in Civ 7. When a victory condition is reached, which is a convoluted nightmare mess of nonsense to reach now, the game hard ends. This other one, the game is not finished. Base game is overpriced. DLC are overpriced. Wait for the game to be 50% off. This guy refunded it. It's 10 years since Civ 6 and another step backwards for the series. Each game after Civ, I guess, what is this? 4 steps further and further away from feeling like the game of Civilization. And this is by far the worst. They've shoehorned things into the game that don't fit and don't work. It's a buggy mess, but I expected it will get fixed over a couple of years, but I fear some of the changes they made to the game can't be patched away. I expect this is the end of mainline Civ series for a lot of people. There have been a few challenges, and I expect over the next few years, some of the new games will not take the Civ crown, or some new game will now take the Civ crown. If they're still to be a Civ 8, I hope they try to remember what people used to like about Civ and bring it back. For now, I'm getting a refund. This is truly awful. So just people, again, missing a few cute, even the guy that gave it a thumbs up says it's missing a few quality of life features, but still amazing sequel to Civ 6. So it's generally the tale as old as time. Guys, a dev team releasing a game that is incomplete, missing a lot of features, needs a lot of quality of life updates. But it's one of those things. Hey, buy it now, and we'll patch it later. So right now, this game seems to be like a just wait on it. Wait a year, wait a few months, and hopefully it'll get better. Which again sucks for people that really support the series, really love the series. They end up getting a turd of a game at release, and then they just have to just stay with us. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy the good of the game right now, and we'll slowly get it better. We'll slowly refine it over patches. And yeah, it'll get better, guys. Don't worry. Again, this. Why do people pirate games? Why do people pirate games, guys? I don't understand it. When these great developers are releasing these gems onto the PC, where again they just we'll add these we'll add one more turn in in a few patches. Just wait for it. Trust us, guys. But this wasn't the only thing that about it. People were dunking hard on this video, which I mean, hey, they started out good with a nice pair of tits, but yeah, I think I can kind of understand why people started making fun of it and crying DEI.
Thank you. Thank you, Civ fans.
Thank you, Civ fans. Y'all are
Guys, why do they have to understand how the internet works. I don't know why you would subject this poor woman to the internet, but they decided to do that. I guess she wanted to be part of the video. I don't know.
the best fans in gaming.
Thank you, Civ.
All right, guys. Cast your vote. Is this a man or a woman? What do you think?
Fans, you're the best.
Because I think it could go either way. I can't tell. I honestly can't tell.
Thank you, Civ fans. You are the best fans in gaming. Thank you so much.
Hey, Civ fans. Big thank you from the audio team.
Which, I mean, you're at 50% on your review score. It doesn't seem a little tone deaf to thank Civ fans. Thank you, Civ fans, for putting up with our shitty game. With a game that half of you hate right now. Instead of maybe they should have at this point they should hey, guys, they should be issuing an apology to the fans, I think. If you're at 50% on your review score, maybe hey guys, you're the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Civ fans, for continuing to be the best fans in gaming, and we really hope you continue to take one more turn.
Thank you.
One more turn. Well, you can't take one more turn.
For playing Civilization VII.
Thank you, Civ fans.
Thank you.
Again, I don't know why people are dunking on this video.
Thank you, Civ fans. The launch of Civ VII is here. We absolutely cannot wait for you to experience the game yourselves. So enjoy.
Is Sid Meier in here? I don't think he is. I hope that's not. I don't think Sid Meier at all in this in that video. Thank you. They ended up deleting us, by the way. They deleted their video. But this is someone saved it and posted it. So thank you for Dave Pinson for saving this video. Again, it just got dunked on because it's got a bunch of women in it and some very questionable gender type of stuff in it. The usual suspects, and people are like, this is why the game sucks, is because it's filled with that. Who knows? Who knows? Again, I don't know why you would subject these people to the internet when there's clearly people are going to make fun of it, but oh well. And again, I don't know why you're issuing a thank you video when you're at 50% review scores. You're hanging around 50, probably not the best the thing you need to be saying right now, but whatever. I guess they did delete it, so why not? They should probably, I know, remember when Diablo came out with a really unpopular update, they put out a fireside chat saying, hey, we hear you, we're gonna make this better, just be patient with us as we kind of take your feedback and roll with it. That's probably what they should have done, but get some guys in suits that that look like again, you can tell which gender they're at. Deborah votes man. I think you might be right, Deborah. I think it might be a man. Just a man by the biological definition, perhaps. And that's it.
Civ fans, you're the best.
I don't know. Part of me thinks it's a woman, but I could be wrong. I mean,
Thank you, Civ.
Maybe I should. Deborah's a woman, so maybe she has a better idea what is a woman. I don't know.
Thank
what is that? I don't want to dunk on these people. So too much. So let's move on. A bizarre video. It's stupid people believing in marketing positivity. And that's you're probably right, Silver Bishop. It probably is hey, thank you so much, guys. It's very feminist. Yeah, thank you so much. You're loving Civ. Voice is clearly female. Thanks for loving Civilization VII. You're the best. Civ is so great, right? I mean, it's so wonderful. One more turn. Yay. Meanwhile, don't just ignore the bad stuff, guys. We'll fix it eventually. We'll fix all the issues we have it with patches. Just be positive and stick with it. Yeah. Is there an Adam's apple? I don't know.
Thank you, Civ fans. You're the best.
Maybe that does have it. Maybe it does have it. I don't know.
Thank you, Civ fans. You're the best.
Thank you.
Let's move on. Again, I don't want to dwell on that too much. This was a PC game. Honestly, I don't think the article is very interesting in my opinion, but just the title was crazy. This is from PC Gamer, by the way, by Nick Evanson. Avows low frame rates, but smooth feeling gameplay make me wonder if we in PC gamers, if we worry too much about the numbers. Worry about the numbers, which is just a crazy. Like, yes, I know this makes me sound like a steaming hypocrite. I don't know if is Avow paying him to say this, because it seems like this is again a humongous cope over Avowed, whereas he's basically saying like, and he makes the case, which might be right. If you get too obsessed with a FPS, and sometimes like the game itself, depending on how it is, you don't necessarily notice the frame rate as much. Like if you're playing like a turn-based strategy game, would you notice frame rate as much? Would that be a big issue? Maybe not. Maybe this game runs slowly enough that you don't notice a huge drop in FPS. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows from this? But the idea that PC Gamer, who one of their main jobs is to measure performance. That's one of their big things is performance. How does this game perform on this hardware? Saying like, hey, maybe we're just worried too much about FPS on games like Avowed. It still runs, it still feels really smooth while you're playing it. Don't worry about it. But I guess it does have some serious issues where average FPS is pretty low at some points. Again, kind of bizarre, and I have to wonder: is Nick Evans or PC Gamer kind of do they have friends over at Obsidian that they're looking out for? It's hard to say, but again, crazy headline. Nintendo Niche Gamer by Brandon Little. Nintendo is filing more patents, and it seems they're already going after Pocket Pair in Japan, but they're not having as much success in the U.S. courts. So they're trying to go at him over the U.S. Is pursuing an interview with a patent examiner who rejected a majority of recent patent claims in the U.S. In particular, 22 of the 23 claims made in the filing were rejected. Speculatively, the purpose of the interview is to convince a patent examiner to allow permit more than just one claim. So they're filing more patents, hoping to get more ground on Pocket Pair, not just in Japan, but in the United States. I really do not like this patent stuff. I mean, this stuff makes no sense. In a first mode, maybe this is translated because this makes an aiming direction in virtual space is determined based on a second operation input, and a player character is caused to launch in the aiming direction. This has to be translated because this makes zero sense about what is this even talking about. I hate this idea that they're patenting mechanics. Like you cannot have a ball where you throw and capture something. To me, it just seems the opposite end of creativity. But, I guess Japan has a much, much different culture when it comes to this stuff compared to the United States, which I guess is kind of reflected in the fact that the U.S. office rejected the majority of it. Well, so we'll see how this the fallout happens on this. I'm sure it's going to take years, and that's actually probably the reason. That's probably what Nintendo's seeking to do, is to drag out litigation and make it cost, make the lawyer fees cost, more than what they could possibly get from the settlement. The process is part of the punishment, as my good friend Ryan would say. This was funny. This is actually funny, pretty funny. This indie FPS developer targets content creators who take an undisclosed payments from rival developers and then dunk on his game. You and I will have legal problems. This is a PC Gamer by Rick Lane. Let me just take a drink here. Developer of independent military shooter Operation Harsh Doorstop. Well, that's pretty cool. Has waded into a thorny topic of streamers and YouTubers getting paid for positive coverage of video games, taking specific issue with content creators who accept large payments for producing positive reviews of one game, then disparage others, similar games that haven't been paid directly to review. So Connor Drake, Operation Harsh Doorstep's lead developer, who goes by the online moniker Blue Drake 42, posted a warning on X last week. Viva Games radar to every content creator in light of an imminent update to his games. If you have taken over 10,000 USD in payments from studios we compete with in the last 12 months and you don't disclose that in any review you create of our game, then you and I will have legal problems. Whoa. So he's going after people like, hey, if you take 100,000 USD and you don't disclose it when you're reviewing our game, he's planning to sue you. So obviously this kind of threatening, it's kind of the framing of this, threatening legal action against reviewers preemptively. Is this going to prevent bad reviews where you have to disclose the fact that you've taken this money when you're reviewing an alternate game that, in the similar genre? I mean, in some ways, you can kind of say that he has a point. Why not disclose it? Hey, see you later, JWB. He has a point. Why not disclose it? It kind of makes sense. Like, hey, if I'm getting money to review a game that in the similar genre, if I'm getting money to review COD and some sort of rival first-person shooter, I'm doing a review. Does he have to disclose it? I mean, you could say he can be objectionable, or if if you put in the video, for Call of Duty that I'm being paid to review this game, does it specifically affect you to review another game? It's not necessarily clear. If you somehow have loyalty to the guys that gave you $10,000 to review a game, which is a lot of money, by the way. If any people want to pay me and my 700 subscriber channel $10,000 to crap on a game, I'll do it. I will do it, and I will disclose it, and I have I have no problems with that. So please leave a comment on the video if you're interested in that. This said it resulted in a lot of angry responses from content creators. Wake of one of the largest content creators from Delta Force came forward and confessed he had taken a paid deal and has done a paid review of Delta Force, praising it because they paid him and he did not disclose it in accordance with FTC regulations. I guess Ackman, I'm not a fan of Ackman. He seems like a very fake type of guy. Called Making Things Right, in which he apologized for failing to disclose sponsorship from Delta Force coverage, saying, I should have made that clear. I didn't. I don't know what I was thinking. There's really no excuse. Drake claims Ackman was paid $40,000 for a single video. That's insane. Wow. So, I mean, if you're getting $40,000, I mean, does it really affect, are you really going to go around I gotta attack Harsh Doorstep, Operation Harsh Doorstep, since Delta Force paid me? Are people, is Delta Force paying people to shit on his game? I don't know. If, in my opinion, this probably just is going to piss off content creators, and that will disclose the fact that they were paid by Delta Force and crap on his game, or they haven't been paid by Delta Force, and they'll probably just look in it, nitpick it, and just kind of use this as an example. The reason why Blue Drake's threatening people is because his game sucks, and he's trying to silence me in order to stop me from pointing out that his game sucks. This is kind of the way I see it, but it's who knows? It's hard to say if this is. I don't think this is going to help him at all, in my opinion. It's not going to help him get any sort of goodwill, and the potential people he might scare away from reviewing his game, or scare people into disclosing it. I don't think that's the benefit that's going to get for it is probably much less than the ill will he's caused. But maybe any coverage is good coverage. In this case, he just needs to get his guy's name out in the. Has to get his game's name out in this sort of space, and that's going to help get him publicity. Who knows? But not a great look. Not a great look in my opinion. If you have to result the threats, you might have some issues. Your game might have some issues that he's not disclosing. Stellar Blade here. Shift Up posted a record revenue and profit. So fiscal year of 2024, 151 million, up 30% in revenue, which seems like not that much, to be honest. So 100 mil of that was operating profit, so I guess it's just this is just strict profit, and 98 mil in net profit. So almost that's almost 32% net profit. Goddess of Victory Nike, their gotcha game, produced 100 mil. That's almost 70% of the studio's revenue, and Stellar Blade got about 40 mil. It has only 322 employees. 90% of them are devs. This seems like a very relevant part of their profit structure, to be honest. And, they aim to grow to 400,000 to 420 by the end of the year. So hopefully they do that carefully, because that's where a lot of businesses can go wrong when they start to expand, and they don't expand in a prudent fashion. But I saw this interesting Reddit thread when I tried to look up the how much Stellar Blade costs to make. Somebody I say only 40 mil doesn't seem like that much in terms of royalties. Maybe this is just strict profit, but this guy estimated the budget of Stellar Blade by looking at sort of how many people are in the game versus their salaries. So analyzing this picture and seeing it, you can see about 100 people. There will be people who have not been photographed. So they looked at the game development period for 5 years. They kind of calculated 150 times the average salary, or if you calculate 5 years, so 150 times 42,700 times 5. So that is only 32 million. And you kind of look like that's the average salary, 42,000, but it is Korea. So it's different than the United States. So the idea that it only takes 32 million to make this game does seem kind of crazy. But again, it is, like I said, it is Korea. It's definitely different than the United States. And some people weren't believing that is that low of a number. But he kind of points out that Horizon Zero Dawn only took 5 million euros with 300 developers. So this idea that it's around 32 million could very well be true. And it just kind of shows you how you can make a very good game, that's kind of targeted to a niche, maybe a niche audience, with the very a lot of sex appeal in it, and again, very hard targeted towards men, young men that like action games. And if you make the number that low, it's almost guaranteed to be success. So it's kind of cool to see that they're doing really well making games and kind of staying underneath an insane budget. Let's put it that way. Speaking of action games, some people are saying that there's an action game renaissance that it's upon us right now. And this is one of the latest games announced that's part of this action game renaissance. This is Tides of Annihilation. So let's take a look at this trailer.
No one knows how that world came into being. It devoured everything.
Yeah, but dystopian London. This seems very similar, honestly, to Stellar Blade, like post-apocalyptic world. This is obviously set in London.
Only I was left.
A beautiful woman is left as a sole fighter to take on.
That was a fatal mistake.
Uh-oh. The mistake. You left her alive. Now she's getting revenge. So now, of course, people have obviously commented like, oh, it's a good-looking female protagonist. Of course, it's China, so...
It's the aura of the Grail pieces. I can sense it.
So you already have Grail pieces.
As long as it is reforged.
My wish can be fulfilled.
But wishes come at a price.
To pursue one's wishes is to court one's doom.
Not a lot of fighting in this thing so far. There's clearly some platforming in it, which I don't know if you want to... Now we get some actual combat here.
Holy Grail. Blood. This is a feast only for the king. I can't escape from your doomed fate.
Gwendolyn, this is your final warning.
My quarrel lies not with you, but I will take back everything that belongs to me. Even if the price is my soul.
Soul. Whoa, Tides of Annihilation in development for PS5. I don't know if it's actually going on the on Steam as well. I could look that up. But this is kind of an interesting idea. Clearly, it's set in London. It's loosely kind of based around the sort of Knights of the Round Table. Which, I mean, this is actually, I think, one of the issues with wokeness that people don't talk about. It's not just, you know, oh, they're sticking ugly women and minorities into the video games. It's also, it's really the kind of hate. I don't want, maybe hatred's too strong a word, but there's like a shame in for like white European culture in the game industry. You know, they don't want to make a game that's, you know, kind of focused on especially, you know, positively or positive, like, cool view of this these kind of tales. And then when you see, you know, this is a Chinese company or a Korean company or something, you know, Japanese company, kind of like, here's our take on, you know, white, you know, European culture, and also like it looks super cool. It kind of shows that, you know, maybe there's an issue with Western creatives and Western culture where it, you know, doesn't want to interpret its own like sort of heritage and history in these really like cool badass ways. Like, you know, have these, it kind of focuses on like these knights. Like this is like Knights of the Round type of inspired stuff. As is that, again, it's kind of like, I don't want to say Dark Souls, but it has that sort of like Asian kind of interpretation of these knights. They look pretty badass in my opinion. Very cool. And this one doesn't have a lot of gameplay, but this one does. This is more like a gameplay type of thing. So it's a kind of typical let's explore. You have a little like world building. People are like frozen in place, and turning to ash.
Get over here.
Clearly like a post-apocalyptic London. Actually show, you know, the Union Jack there. This is kind of almost strange to see. Like, when's the last time you've seen like American flags in a game? A lot of people like kind of want to avoid real life stuff. Then you have like this. I assume you're meeting this for the first time. I hope there's not like an intro sequence every time you get into a fight. But as you can kind of see, it's very, very action oriented. You got combos. You can knock the guy up from the ground here and then do like a grab, air combo him, launch, knock him down, bounce him back up, lift him up off the grounds. There does seem like a lot of cool combos you can gotta do in this game, which can be good or bad. Like if like it's too combo oriented, it almost kind of gets old after a while. Like, oh, let me do this 20 hit combo again. This guy is super armor, but here it seems to be there's some sort of counter here. Got a different variety of enemies you have to deal with. Seems to be some sort of like blue gauge. I don't know if that's kind of a like a magic gauge that refills. Only like certain. Oh, okay. Now you like. It looks like she charged, and then she has to unleash her magic gauge here to use this type of attack. So maybe there's like a different types of attacks that you can do with it, rather than like the Ice Knight using like an uppercut. You have this super spikes here. She's trying to set up a grab. Oh, some sort of execution here, which can be all right. Executes in an action game. It could be. It could be okay if it. You have to use this as a way to kind of gain invulnerability in a intense fight. This appears to be an introductory sequence too, so it's maybe not as intense. It looks like you got a boss battle here.
You're weak.
The Mordred. Again, they're kind of using this sort of people loosely. The events and the stories behind it very loosely inspired by this kind of stuff. Interpreting it a different way.
Swinging your sword like that. Does that count as fighting? What's this? Can't win on your own, so you call for backup.
This person's apparently immune. You have to find a way to kind of break through it. Or maybe this is a fight you have to lose. I don't know.
This is all you've got.
We'll see how this.
Bow to me.
Oh, I sure love it when people talk excessively. Oh, you cut her.
This is your own doing. Pest.
Hours. If this is the fight in the game, it seems way too much not in gameplay here.
You're a right pain, aren't you?
I love the British accents too.
You'll soon pay the price. You're nothing.
Alright, so now she becomes edible. I don't want to watch this entire fight. This is taking too long. People are. I can see why people are excited for this game, though. That seems pretty cool. I mean, we'll see how. Like, there's like some stuff where it's like, again, like the hitting sequences and that kind of stuff. Almost seems like it. I don't want. If it gets excessive, it could be a pain in the ass.
Regret that.
Like this. But I mean, this is supposed to be the first part, so they always like try to hook you with this kind of stuff and give people seem to give people something to look at. Someone pointed out that trailers like almost never show gameplay, which kind of is really true, to be honest. It's kind of bizarre, but I guess the way you marketing people think the way you attract people is by showing these cool sequences, like running sequences or these like movie sequences.
You're nothing but a bug. Well, I'm destined to have it
Like, this doesn't even seem like a serious boss fight. It's like half the time you hit her a few times, it goes in another cinematic.
I'm Pendragon.
Okay, then it just skips it. Okay. She's running through the rain. Giant enemies. They got seem like big enemies, small enemies. We'll see how it goes. It looks visually, it definitely looks super cool. I'll give it that. Will it be good? Is this the action game renaissance? I don't know, but it looks pretty neat. And again, she has. I don't know if I can get a. Let's see. She actually has cleavage, which is another thing. I don't know if there's a way to. Oh, here we go. See, look. Amazing. Oh, amazing to see a woman with cleavage in a game nowadays. You can tell it's Japanese or Chinese, sorry, because if it was European studio, she would definitely have this covered up right now. You can't show this in a Western game, so that's exciting. Exciting to see it. I'll keep my eye on that to see how it works out. Some people were mentioning Tides of Annihilation announced for console, PC. Showcase confirmed. This is by a Chinese developer with the backing of Tencent, which is a giant. Has over 100 developers with experience from Sega, Ubisoft, and more. Action-adventure game. It's single player. It takes place in London. Scarred Modern London will also be explorable. The protagonist, Gwendolyn, voiced by Jennifer English, can summon 2 spectral knights. The game has over 30 bosses, which were each of which were inspired by Knights of the Round Table lore. Colossal Knights roam London. Players can climb and battle them. So it's got some Shadows of Colossus type of thing going on. There'll be options for those who want less challenging experience. I don't know if that's a good thing. Enhanced version will also be planned and will offer improved FPS ray tracing. Wow. Platforms. So it's PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X. So it's going to be available on all sort of modern platforms, or the super performance platforms. English is the lady that voiced Shadowheart. Oh, I don't think I've played Shadowheart, but a lot of people seem to like her, so they're hyped for Jennifer English. Oh, I'll just end the news here. This was kind of an interesting tidbit. So I've never heard of Parodius Da, but there is a certain point, something that you might recognize. So let me just play this here. What an interesting boss this is. This is clearly a kind of bizarre shmup. This lady summons these. that was it right there. Let me play it again. That's the iconic wow sound that's seems to be used in like every video nowadays. Actually came from such a bizarre source. This old shmup from like the 2000s. Actually, it might have been before the 2000s. This is from SGG Shmups. Kind of a fun follow, but it reminds me of the girl wow sound, one of the most used samples in YouTube TikTok videos. So bizarre internet history coming from an even bizarrer source. This is a really interesting boss design here. Naked woman on with a sheet over her saying wow. Everyone enjoys that. Who would have thought? Well, let me move on. I'm going to take a drink and then we'll move on, because this is the sort of game of the week I want to show off. I'm running overtime again. Game of the week this week is this is Toho, Immortal Emmanuel. This is a Chinese Toho fan game, which doesn't have any English support. And if you look at the screen here, you can see this is in English, but none of the other options are in English. I actually had to use take a screenshot and use Google Translate to translate the screenshot to figure out what option was which, because like I wanted to remap the buttons to have, you know, like slow and shot and bomb on the places that I usually have them. But it wasn't too bad to change everything. It was kind of a pain, but this is, I think, a really fun kind of fan game. This not have sound? Was this the one that didn't have sound? This one should have sound, but I didn't shoot. And this one probably doesn't have sound either. Does it? Yeah, this one does. Darn it. Let me see. I don't want to do it without sound here, because I think that kind of cheapens the experience here. Darn it, but I don't want to process it. Is there another way to play it? Let me see. Playing this in VLC help. Let me check. Okay, this does have a... Oh, good. So VLC does give me sound. All right. So this is Toho Immortal Manual, like I was saying. It's a kind of fun fan game. It's interesting to see the... Oh, no. Maybe it was just the fact that it didn't have sound because I... Let me check it later on. Okay. It didn't have sound because I forgot to... At the beginning of the game, it didn't have... Again, the recording options screw up all the time in OBS, so I had to change it. Got a fun, typical Toho game. Some really interesting parts. If you look at the sort of background, like here, they went with like a 3D background, which is... It's an interesting look. I don't know if I like it a lot, but it does give it a look that I haven't seen before. And your typical type of Toho gameplay, which is nice. It's, you know, just really easy to see projectiles, and to show off, I think one of the best. Well, actually, let me first. The game does have some issues, and I'll show you here. I think they do a lot of experimentation with some of these patterns, and it's cool that they tried new stuff and different stuff. But I feel like some of the stuff does not do well. Let me see if I can show off a pattern here that... Where are the... Let's see, did I miss it? The lasers here. I thought she had a pattern where she does lasers, but maybe it's only on certain patterns. They've got like a lot of stuff like this. A lot of like laser patterns what they move across, which is okay. It's a little bit different than just dodging like waves of bullets. One of the best, I think the Stage 3 was probably the game at its best, where it made a very, it sort of starts off with a really like nice, calm music, but then it has these sort of like rain, even have like rain effects on the screen, which is kind of neat. And then make the bullet patterns look like rain. You have to kind of dodge through. And they start with, you know, these sort of like blue colored bullets. But as the stage goes on, you kind of, you know, you beat this boss here, kind of like a little mini boss in the middle of the stage. And then it sort of like starts with these sort of rainbow colored bullets, kind of like as the rain subsides, rainbow appears. So, you know, I like aesthetically, the theme of the stage, I think it worked out really well, and it looks really nice. I think that's one of the things I like about the kind of Toho series is they do try to make this stuff look really pretty. But it does have some issues, and let me try and kind of look into it. They do like some weird stuff, like in this, one of these patterns they zoom in, so it's harder to see some stuff coming, which I guess is fine, but it's just like it's the only place it ever happens. So I don't know why they do it in one thing. Like they kind of try and keep you guessing, but they almost do it a little bit too much. Over here, this is, I think, one of the most intense fights. They do a lot of like strange things. Like they have patterns that look like this, which I like the density of this stuff, which is kind of neat. But they also like do sections like this, which there's no like, there might be some enemies, but I kill them off screen. A lot of like stuff coming through, and then this changes to like sections like this, and they have these laser stuffs, laser attacks where you can see a clear line here and here, but they don't really define the fact that the in-between is they have empty space here, which kind of makes you think the middle area is safe, but as you can see, it's not. It's clearly a full laser. So some of the visuals on this are not quite as good. And if you look at this game, I'll probably talk about it next week, but this is a really cool demo. Toho Makasai 3. The demo's out, and it looks gorgeous. I mean, they just do such a good job. I mean, when you look at, let's see if I can find the pattern here. Oh yeah, we got the actual boss fight here. So I mean, when you look at when they do the, let me try to turn this down. It's a little loud. When they have their own sort of like laser patterns here. You can see they do a really good job of saying like, hey, this entire thing is going to be a hittable space. Like, you got to get out of it. Get out of that section. And they give you time, and it sort of like turns. Notice it turns from transparent to a very, dark red to show you like when it's going to go off too. And these visual cues, I think, just make it's easier to dodge, but it also like visually kind of tells you, okay, like I need to get out of this area, and here's how fast I need to get out of it. It just makes interpreting it a lot nicer, especially when you have a genre that tons of stuff is going on. And this, again, kind of does it the same way. It looks really kind of menacing. And you can clearly see, like, hey, I don't want to be where the black is. The black is what's going to hit. And I get a little too close to that and get trapped in there. I guess you don't want to be at the center of the cut either. But this is done well. And unfortunately, in Mortal Manual, it's not quite done as well in that aspect. They have like a lot of weird sections like this where you have to just sort of like dodge in these small areas. This was another thing that they don't do super well. This is their indicator that you need to get to that center area. But they also have the enemy right there where the bullets usually generate. So it's almost kind of a confusing. It's almost like a contradiction. Okay, I need to get right next to the enemy that's probably going to shoot out bullets. But I mean, she obviously doesn't shoot bullets out. And like you have this where it doesn't hit you, but it kind of looks like it's a bullet. But you have to kind of move right into it. At some point, it's going to become an actual hitbox. You have to kind of like stay in the center here and dodge this. So visually, this game didn't do as good a job as this game did, and that's one of the criticisms I have of this game. But I think overall, it's a very fun Toho style shooter. If you enjoy that stuff, it's only $10, so you're not going to break your bank on it. And it's a good time. I enjoyed playing through it. I'll probably play through it a little more too. Maybe try to get the endings with everybody. but this is normal. I think this is one of the better bosses of the game. I think, you know, visually and like aesthetically, they kind of fit pretty well. It's got bubbles. It's got the stuff like coming down like rain. It's got like a aquatic theme on it. But, you know, it has lasers. Then they really like lasers. They really like having a lot of different style bullets. Almost too much different styles of bullets to the point where it doesn't really make sense. Again, they have like, like when you look at this like bullet, you know, laser pattern, like if the other lasers before, if you're not supposed to stay in the center, but in this one the center is good. Like you can dodge between this too. So like you see this, like, is in between these lasers and these lasers okay? It's very similar to the visually of the past lasers, but I guess you could stand in between that and in between that. So some of the stuff they do just is a little confusing visually, like where's safe and where isn't. And again, like here, you need to. I really didn't like this pattern because again, here's where it's supposedly safe. This is literally where the enemy is. Like, your instincts is to avoid getting right to the center of the enemy because again, bullets usually generate from the enemy. So you kind of back up here, and then all of a sudden you're right there at the right where the pattern's going to hit. So you end up getting hit. So again, like it kind of, this is where it's going to be. Apparently this is where you need to be, this red circle. But then it expands. Like, why would it expand like that? That kind of indicates that, hey, you're fine now. So you can back up a little bit, but then you get hit in there. Which, this pattern's really cool. I kind of like the way they have this sort of circular pattern. Visually, it's neat. It's kind of different. I just bomb here because I don't want to try and dodge. I'm not that good at dodging it. Yeah. And then again, they have waves, which is very cool. Again, I think this is probably the best looking fight out of all of them. Get the spell card again. All right, so you have to stay in the center here. And then they have stuff like this. I did not like. This is so confusing to know where to dodge. And you have these hitboxes. You have to avoid them. To me, it's a little bit too different. You have to, again, kind of interpret it where you need to, where it's safe and where it isn't. I just barely dodged that. And then they have this. Then they have this. This is another... the timer's at 38 seconds. You have to get in these bubbles, which you're supposed to somehow know the bubbles are safe and not a hitbox. But I guess they kind of indicate visually by the fact that this background hits you, but the foreground doesn't. And you have to stay in these bubbles to avoid this whatever this is. I don't know if this is like some sort of lightning wave here. And you have to do this for, like, again, 40 seconds, which these seem to drag on a little bit too long. Sometimes I don't necessarily like these patterns, and they do them way too much in this game. Like, almost every boss has a pattern. You have to sort of just dodge. So this drags on. And then this is sort of the final one, which I think this pattern's pretty cool. They kind of bring you, again, they kind of restrict your space and have this stuff kind of rotating. An interesting thing is it's a pretty interesting pattern. I kind of like it. But there are some other place, like the boss, like some of this stuff is like visually. The final boss is visually kind of a mess. Like, again, red. The background's red. The arrows are red. This will make it so easy to see. Thank you. It just these weird, like I don't know. I have no idea what's hittable and what isn't in this square pattern. It's so confusing. I just like, as it gets thicker, I assume I try not to get hit by it, but it makes no sense. This entire pattern makes zero sense, like what's going to kill me and what doesn't. This is, I think, the worst part of this game is they did so many strange things visually that, in my opinion, don't work. But still, it's, again, but I don't want to be too harsh on it. It's a smaller, I'm sure this is like a smaller studio. And it's still a lot of fun. They'll have like good patterns and they'll have bad patterns, in my opinion. Like I like this one. Again, they kind of like, they restrict it with bullets, which is easy to understand. And then they have these sort of things coming in between. You have to dodge between these things. And you have to dodge. You got swords coming. And you got to dodge in between these while dodging the swords. Pretty cool. And then they have this sort of like maze you have to gotta go into while dodging stars, and again stars, and they have swords. I think at some point you just have to like kind of stick with like maybe a small palette of bullets and not just throw in every possible like bullet shape you can into these things, because you got arrows, you got swords, you got stars. I guess they throw in everything in the extra stage. I'm not going to show it, but they just throw everything in it. Like, this is every shape of bullet, every style of bullet. It made visually no sense. And then you kind of look at this and what they did with this game, and it just really kind of shows you just how good the guys that did Toyomaki Sai here just know how to stick to a visual theme and make it really good, because really the patterns here only use a few types of colors and a few types of bullet shapes. It does have variety. It's got the red, it's got the white, and they throw in like a little like tinge of blue here. But it's almost just an accent. I end up getting hit here. It's unfortunate. And just having a consistent, aesthetically consistent pattern makes it all the cooler. Again, I get hit here, so I'm trying to find my way through it. But again, it's at the red, it's got the white, even like the blue is kind of whitish too. So it looks so much better visually than Immortal Manual does, and I'll probably review this next week as my game of the week. But Immortal Manual, it's got, like I said, it's just fun. The gameplay itself, the core is there. There's just a few kind of annoying things that I almost wish they refined it a tad bit more, and were a bit more consistent on making kind of visually understandable. And this is sort of the final, which I like the final pattern of the boss here, as it's got a lot of like bullets going at you, but you can kind of understand it. Like, here, I need to dodge these. It's not, a laser or some sort of maze. It's just straight up dodging different patterns. As it kind of like tries to restrict your space and hit you with bullets that kind of home in on your position. Very standard issue bullet hell pattern here. As I get the clear on normal, it's pretty good. But that's my game of the week, Toho Immortal Manual. If you don't want to go through, again, it's only Chinese language support. It's not English, so if you wanted to play it, you'd have to deal with that a little bit. But it's really not much. This is one of the beautiful things of shoot 'em ups is there's a story here. You know, people are talking a story. I love this like visual ending. You don't get the story, but you don't really need the story. It's a very action-oriented game. You're not losing anything out by not understanding this. Old clown piece there. All right, guys. That's it for this week. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll let me redirect to post 0 here. Where we got it. Post 0 is going to be about Elon's new baby mama. Ooh, Ashley Sinclair. Very salacious. I won't be there for Post 0. I got a party I need to go to, so I won't have time to check in. But join the guys. It's over on Jack's channel. Be sure to give him a follow. If you enjoy that, and if you enjoy the Red Pill content, it's definitely the place to be. So I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for joining me, and goodbye.